Hello friends and welcome back. So in the previous session we have created one of our Linux machine EC2 machine, okay, for the installation and for our demo purpose, right? So now after the creation of the machine, okay, we have to do some initial basic steps, okay. We have to follow some basic steps for the complete end-to-end configuration of our machine, right? One of the major step is to configure the graphical user interface tool of your machine to access it remotely. Right, as I said, if you want to install the WebLogic using the graphical user interface, or when we create the domain, we need the user interface for that one, right? So for that, we need to install a graphical user interface utility in our Linux machine, and then we install some tool, VNC tool on our local system, okay, to access this interface. So that complete I am going to explain in this session, and along with that, we will follow some more process, okay, to enable some more configurations like we will create username and password for the installation of the WebLogic server. Then we will enable the swap size in the EC2 machine. By default it is 0. We will disable some of the internal firewall, and then we will enable the password login. Right, by default we log in with the EC2 user and then our private key, right? But I will enable the password login, and so that the user we will create for the installation of WebLogic, that we will log into the machine with the help of username and password. You don't need to do use the same key again and again, okay. And then there is a step to configure the aura inst.log file, for which is the inventory file for your middleware installation. So these are the steps that we are going to follow in this session, and it is very important if you are following this session specifically using the AWS machine. So this is one of the critical activity. Okay, ensure to follow each and every step. So very first thing, you need to update your system with the latest packages. Okay, and this is a command for that, sudo yum -y and update. So I will first access my machine. So this is the machine that we have created. So I will take my public IP. I will go to putty, and then I will enter my public IP. In the connection, you can specify 5 so that your session will not time out for the putty. Then in the authentication, authorization, credentials, and private key, we are going to select our private key that we have created, weblogic.ppk, and then I will click on open. Okay, let me take my public IP again. Okay, it seems to be a bit slow. Okay, let me give EC2 hyphen user. So this is a default user that has been created, right? So very first thing, as I said, we need to run the command sudo yum -y and update. So this is going to update your system with the latest packages from the default RHL repository. Okay, now again, based on the packages it is going to update, it is going to take some time, couple of minutes for the installation of all the packages. Okay, so till it is get updated, I will pause this video to save the length of this session. And once everything is installed, then I will resume the video. So you will see the screen something like this one during the installation of the packages. Okay, whatever the package that is getting installed, you can see the status of that each and every package on the screen. Okay, so now you can see the package has been updated, right? So the next step is to install the GUI tool. Okay, for that we are going to install the genome. Okay, and these are the command that you need to execute for that one. So this is the first command to install. Okay, which is going to take some longer time because it will install the multiple packages. Once it is installed, you need to enable it so that whenever you are going to restart your EC2 machine, so it will automatically enable this service. Okay, so these are two steps for enabling by default on the restart of your machine, and this is a step to install the graphical user interface tool. And this command again going to take some longer time. So let me copy it and let me execute it here. Okay, so it will look for the repository and then look for the multiple other packages. Okay, and then it will take some time for the complete installation. So I'm pausing this video, and once it is completely installed, then I will resume it. Okay, so now you can see the installation has been completed. So now I will quickly run the rest of the two command. Okay, to enable it. This is the first command, and this is the second command. Okay, so we have done the installation of the graphical user interface tool. Now to access it, we need to install the VNC server on our Linux machine. So this is the command to install your VNC server. Okay, run it. It will take some time. Okay, for the installation of the VNC server packages. And what is the next? So these are some utilities that you run to install, but these utilities by default get installed or updated with the very first command that we have run. Okay, if it is not, then you can check for this as well, because these are some important utilities, right? To zip, unzip the files, and to download the content directly from the internet, we use a wget. So you can check if these utilities are installed or not. Okay, if it is not, then you can install it. So let me quickly check for the zip utility first. Okay, nothing to do, it's already installed there. So let me check for the wget as well. Okay, this is also done, not required. So now what I will do, I will quickly create username and group for the installation of the WebLogic server. So this is the command to add a group with the name of oinstall. This is the command to add a user with the name Oracle. And then we are going to create some directories for the installation of the WebLogic server to download the software, and then the location for the software. Okay, so what I will do, I will change the name as Oracle middleware only. Okay, so we'll first create a group, okay, with the name oinstall. Then second, we are going to create the user Oracle, which is will be the part of the same group which we have created. Now then we will create a directory for the Oracle installation or for the middleware installation. Okay, then I will create a directory for the domain. Okay, then I will create a directory for download of the softwares. Okay, and then I will change the ownership of the directory, because I have created with the help of sudo access, and I am logging the ec2-user. So by default, the permission will go to ec2. Okay, so I will change the ownership of the directories that I have created as Oracle and oinstall, and I will change the mode to 755 for the directories that I have created. Okay, so we have created the username and directories that we are going to utilize for the installation of the WebLogic server. Now the next part is we have to increase the swap size. So by default, there is no swap size in the EC2 machine, that you can check with the free -m as well. Okay, you can check the swap is 0, right? And you need some swap size for the installation of the WebLogic server. So we will create a swap size of 1 GB. Okay, so this is the OS level command that you can just run. Okay, for enabling this swap size. Okay, this is the first command. Okay, that you need to run. It will take some time based on the size that you have specified for the swap. So we have given 1 GB, so it will take some time. Okay, so now it is done. So the second part, we need to change the mode of this particular swap directory that we have created with the name of swap file 0. Right, now run this command. It is allocated. Right, then you have to run these two commands to enable it. Swap1-v and then swap1-s. Okay, and to make it permanent, we need to enable this entry in the fstab file. Okay, so that once your system is restarted, so it will automatically enable your SAP size. Okay, otherwise, if you will not add in the FS tab, then the entry will be gone. Your SAP size will be gone if you are restarting your machine anytime. Okay, and let me save and exit. And I will quickly run these two commands again, -a and then -s. Right, so now let me check again free -m. You can see the swap size has been allocated, right? So we have defined the swap size for our system. Okay, so now these are the certain commands that you run if by default some firewalls are enabled by the Linux machine automatically. Okay, that is not required because we already on the cloud and there are certain other restrictions are already there. Okay, so you can run all these commands to ensure that all the firewall by default firewall services are disabled. Okay, otherwise you will get some problem when you are trying to access your applications. Okay, so firewall is also done. Right. So the next one is we are going to enable the password login. So to enable the password login, we have to do two things. This is the first file that we need to update. And here we need to change the password authentication as yes. And then we need to restart the SSH service. And this is the other configuration file specifically applicable for the cloud machines and AWS, where in the cloud.cfg, we need to make disable root as false and SSH path as true. And then we need to restart it clean with the cloud init command, and then you need to reboot your machine. So this is the command that you need to execute for allowing the password login in your machine. Okay, so first quickly I will open this file, and here I will go at the last of the file. You will have a entry password authentication. It is no by default. Okay, you can make it yes and then save it, and then you need to restart the SSH service, or you can restart your reboot, so it will automatically reflect it. Now this is the second file, which is cloud.cfg. Open this one. So here this is the default disable root, which is blue. So make it false. This is by default false, which is SSH password, and you have to make it 2. Right? So we have repeated both the entries and save it, and then you run to cloud init clean. Okay, and then we need to reboot the machine. Okay, so I have rebooting the machine, so it is the session has been closed. Okay, so we have to wait for some time for the reboot of the machine. Okay, around a minute of a time, and when the machine is rebooted, you have to log in the machine again. Okay, and after login, you can reset the password for your user. You can reset the password for EC2 user, or you can reset the password for the Oracle user that you have created with the help of passwd command. Okay, and after that, we can log into the EC2 machine with the help of username and password, not only the key file. Right? So let me see if now it is rebooted or not. Okay, it is not. It will take some time. So let's wait for that one. Once it is rebooted, then we'll log in again. Okay, now let me try to log in. Okay, so what I will do, I will quickly take my public IP again. I will go to here, new session, and then the password authentication with the help of my keys. So because I haven't reset my password yet, so as of now, I have to log in with my keys only. Then open, and let me close this window. Okay, it is not rebooted yet, so let us wait for some more time. Okay, so it is rebooted now. So I will log in with my EC2-user. Okay, then I will set the password for my EC2 user as well. So then I have to give sudo, then passwd EC2-user, and I have to specify some good password here. And similarly, I will set the password for my Oracle user as well. Okay, so I have reset the password. So what I will do, I will log into the new session again, and I will try to access with the help of password now. So this is my IP address. So I'm not going to specify any of the key file now. Okay, I will log in directly with my username. So let me try with the EC2-user. Now it is prompting for password. Okay, so now you can see we can able to access with the help of EC2 user with the help of password. Similarly, I can try to log in with my Oracle user as well. So I haven't given any key file. User is Oracle, and then my password. Right, so you can see we can able to access with the help of password. Right, so now I will quickly create an aura inst.log file, and this log file is specifically we create when we install the middleware softwares like WebLogic, okay, which specify a location for the aura inventory file, which contain information about all the middleware products that have been installed in your system. Okay, so we have created the aura inst file, which contain the information about the location for our aura inventory directory. So this is the directory that we have created, right, for installation of WebLogic server. So inside the same directory, we are going to create an aura inventory file here, directory here, okay, which will contain the information about the middleware softwares, right? So that means we have successfully updated the system. We have installed the graphical user interface. Now let me tell you how to access the graphical user interface tool from the local system. Right. So for that, you can download this tool, which is Tight VNC. There are multiple tools are there. You can download any. Okay, I am using this Tight VNC Viewer. Okay, you can just search in the Google, and it's a very small tool. You can download it from the internet. It's a free tool, open source tool. Once it is downloaded, okay, we need to access this graphical interface of Linux with the help of this Tight VNC. Right. So now for that, what I need to do, so I will close this window, or what I will do. So I need to create a tunnel for that. Okay, to access the graphical user interface of the Linux from your local system, we need to create a small tunnel. And before that, we need to start the VNC server. Okay, if you remember that, we have installed the VNC server process, right? So this VNC server need to be started in your system first. To start the VNC server, we have the command VNC server, and in which port you want to start. For example, I want to start in a port 1. Okay, so it will prompt you for a password. So let me give a password. Okay, so this password will be used to log into the VNC server when you will access from the local system. Okay, if that password is not working, you can reset it again with the command VNC PASSWD. Okay, and then you can specify the password again, because there is a timeout for this password. So if it is not working, you can reset it again. Okay, so let me specify it again. Okay, password should be not greater than 8 characters. Okay, so what I will do, I will quickly give again. It's not taking. Let me try again. Okay, and then okay, so I have set the password again. Okay, so now to access it from the local system, so what we have done, we have started the VNC server process and we have set the password. You need to create a tunnel. So you need to go to the settings of your putty. Inside the SSH and tunnels, you need to give the source port as 5901. So here 1 is the port on which we have started the VNC server process. So here we have started the VNC server on port 1. Okay. So because we have started on port 1, so that's why we need to give the port here as 5901. So this one is the VNC server port. And then we have to give the local host and then 5901 same port and then click on add and then apply. Okay. So now what we have done, we have created a tunnel on port 1 of VNC server, right? And here we have started the VNC server on port 1. And let me show you. Yeah, this one we have started on port 1. Okay. So now open this VNC tool. And here you give the local host colon whatever the port that you have given in your VNC settings in the tunnel 5901. Click on connect. It will prompt you for the password. Then give the password whatever you have given. You can see we can able to access the graphical console of our Windows machine. Right. So this is the initial screen. Go to activities. Inside the activities, so you will see the multiple options. Click on terminal. Okay, and this will going to open a terminal for you. Let me click it again. Right, so this is the terminal and I can run the command here. So with the help of this VNC tool, this graphical tool, we can start the installation of the WebLogic or creation of the domain in the graphical user interface mode of the Linux system, right? Because this is the interface of our Linux system, right? So this is my Linux machine which I am accessing with the help of PuttyY, and this is my graphical user interface tool which I am accessing, okay, with the help of my VNC tool. And for that, what we have done, we have just did a tunneling. So I will update this step, this tunneling step as well here in this document. Okay, how to create a tunnel. So if you are a member of our channel, you have taken a membership, then you can write to us at digitalk.fmw@gmail.com. Okay, we will share this document with you. Okay, and the VNC step we will add in this document.